My name is Jennifer Kelly, and I'm an instructional designer with Gardiner Center. The impact of the pandemic on Gardiner Center was a complete transition from face-to-face in-class training to virtual instructor-led training. It was important for Gardiner Center to adapt its courses and programs to the virtual instructor-led environment so that we could keep servicing our clients. All of our clients were coming to our face-to-face training. When we lost that type of accessibility, we knew that in order to meet our mandate, which is to enhance the growth and learning development of our clients, we would have to move to an online learning environment. My role in the transition as an instructional designer was primarily around curriculum review. There is a common myth that face-to-face curriculum can simply be put up online or used in the same way, when in reality, online learning requires different teaching strategies, different types of learning activities, and a completely different way of engaging participants or students. So my role as the instructional designer was to ensure that the curriculum was readapted and essentially aligned with the needs of online learners. Examples of the changes that were made to course delivery included taking in-class learning activities, for example, a brainstorming activity that would have been completed on a flip chart, and transitioning that and readapting that for the virtual instructor-led training environment. So we would take a flipboard and that would become the whiteboard within Zoom. So that's one example how we would adapt a learning activity. A second example is how we would adapt handouts or resource material that an instructor would distribute in class. Of course, in class, things would be printed, the instructor would hand out the printout, everybody would be working with paper and pen. Online, it's not quite the same. So one of the things that we encouraged our instructors to do was to build a full activity workbook where they combined all these handouts and resource documents into one set document. We also encouraged instructors to make the documents fillable. That meant that the participant could actually answer and respond to the learning activity right on their computers. They could type their responses within the fillable box, and thus they wouldn't have to be concerned about printing papers or wondering where to find multiple handouts. The advice that I would provide to instructors who are used to teaching live in class but are now teaching remotely is to first become very familiar with the online platform that they'll be teaching on. Review any tutorial guidebooks or videos, and also talk to your peers. See how they are navigating the technology. Do they have best practices that you could learn and then implement in your own online courses? The advice that I would provide to learners to get the most out of their online learning experience is to view it as exactly that, an experience. Hopefully, your instructor will now start to think about the course as this exciting learning journey that you're a part of, you're a community member. So as a student, try to view your course as a learning experience. So for any journey or experience, you would prepare yourself. So find out as much as you can about the online platform your course is going to be featured on. Also, see how comfortable you are with the platform when it comes to your own learning style. So we know that learners learn in 4 different ways. For example, if you're a learner that is a more visual learner, what can you do to ensure that your online course is more aligned to your needs as a visual learner? Do you need to perhaps get a double monitor? Sometimes you might need to print presentation slides. So ask yourself, what is my learning style and how can I better adapt my course online learning environment to align with my learning style? And of course, again, try to view it as an experience and a journey. The tips that I have for instructors to build a sense of community in their online classes is to adopt a community mindset. So even before you begin to teach your class or course, try to think about it as a learning journey or a community where your students are coming to you as a community member to learn about this interesting and special and important topic. So right away, get into that mindset of this isn't just a course that I'm teaching this term. This is a community of students that are coming together with me to go on a learning journey. Communicate language around community in your course outline, when you introduce yourself. Keep referencing back to the fact that this isn't a course, it's a community. Continue to build that community by providing opportunities for students to interact with each other, to interact with you. You can have your standard office hours, but also have office hours that are completely devoted to just interacting and engaging with a student. Sometimes online, some students are more shy and introverted, and it's more difficult for them to engage. Try to notice those students and reach out to them personally. And again, keep referring to the language of we're all here together on this journey in our learning community. The first thing to do is to look at your course as having a 360-degree focus. So there is work that you can do at the beginning to connect with your students, work you can do during the course, and work you can do after. This also feeds into building that learner community. So for example, at the beginning of the course, the instructor can talk about how important it is that students see themselves as community members in their course. You can talk about this in your course outline. Instead of just giving a course description, have also a description about community. Use words like learning journey, learning opportunity, members of a community. That's the first way you can connect with students even before you meet them live online. The second way is to send them a welcome video. Students really need to identify with the instructor and their peers before they meet in the online classroom. And that ties back into social learning. People like to feel a sense of connectivity with each other. We like to learn from each other, and we like to get a feeling that we belong. And the way to do that is to be introduced early to who our instructor is. Send a welcome video. Express your excitement to have the students in your course. Give them high-level outcomes of what they can expect in your course. This helps students get more prepared. They know now what to expect from you. You've given them a preview, and they get to meet you before the class even begins. Let's go to that middle part I spoke of a moment ago. During the course, keep the engagement high. When I say engagement, it doesn't always have to be focused on learning activities or assessment. Engage them socially, engage them personally. We know that online learning can also foster a sense of isolation. Students aren't able to meet with each other as much, connect with each other as much, and we know that research tells us that that piece is very important: connectivity, social learning. Give students the opportunity to do that during the course. Have a course break that involves everyone just in what I call a sharing circle, where they share the most humorous thing that happened to them that week. Make it light, make it fun. Concentrate on building that personal and social engagement between you and your students and between students and their peers. And finally, the end of that 360 experience. After the course ends, consider another video that you can send to your students where you thank them or you congratulate them or you highlight particular achievements. Send them a message speaking about how difficult it's been during the pandemic and how much you appreciate that they were with you during this semester and that they completed their assignments and were members of your community. Just showing gratitude and appreciation fosters a sense of community and connection. Gardiner Center intends to meet the needs of its current learners and future learners by offering a blended model going forward. In the past, Gardiner Center primarily relied on face-to-face live in-class training, and really it was only because of the pandemic that we switched to an online learning model. But going forward, we recognize that learners are still going to want to have the opportunity to learn through our virtual instructor-led training. So our intention is to offer a blend. So we will still have some of our courses offered in class. We will also offer more in our online training environment as well. We also plan to offer short recorded webinars on special topics that are of interest to the community. And we'd love to continue building our relationships within the university, and of course, most recently, our connections and relationships within Labrador. We had some members of the Indigenous community join us recently for some of our online courses, and that has shown us that our connections can be so much richer if we move ahead with a blended model of face-to-face and online learning.